All right, long time no video, so I'm back with a catch-up video, just kind of to get me rolling again in the video market, and just update on a few things I've been reading and watching. Kind of, I know nobody cares about these videos, but when I do more targeted videos, I'll be a little more comfortable on camera again. But I was in Thailand for 2 months and doing weed, and I think that it like slowed my video production down a lot. So, but I'm back in Malaysia now, no weed, so maybe you can expect more videos. Who knows? I'll be here in Malaysia for November and December. Yeah. So let's see. So I was reading a lot of these graphic novel comics adaptations of classics. I don't know if they interest people because I guess I talk a lot about classics on my channel. Oh, by the way, I'm sick. If my voice sounds all weird, that's why. And yeah, I got a cold. I thought it was COVID, and I tested for COVID, and it came up negative, but it could have been COVID. It felt that level of fun. So who knows? As far as I know, I've never had COVID, but maybe one day. So anyways, these series of graphic novels I found them translated in Spanish. I don't know if they're available in English, but I think they're originally from Japanese because they're manga. I mean, it could just be that style, but I'm pretty sure they actually were in Japanese. And I think there's about 40 of them. I can link to the website that has them, the Spanish versions. I don't know where the Japanese versions are. I can't find those at all. But the Spanish versions, there's like 40 of them. Some of them, it's that, like the old comics, Classics Illustrated, that they would adapt, the Brothers Karamazov and Crime and Punishment and all that to to comics, like 20-page comics or something. But these are longer. They're like 200 pages, and the art's pretty good. Like the stories, though, I've only read 3 of them so far. Which ones did I read? Let me see. Oh, I read Anna Karenina, which I've never actually read the novel Anna Karenina. And that one was just a straight-up adaptation of Anna Karenina. And then I read this one that was called La Enfermedad Mortal, which is Søren Kierkegaard's book. It's like a philosophy book. So how do you adapt a philosophy book into a kind of a fiction manga? Well, the way they do it was to kind of create these characters and have them learning about Søren Kierkegaard. Anyways, I enjoyed it. And then the other one I read was El Libro del Tao, which is like the Tao Te Ching adapted. Oh, my window's open. Hope it's not too noisy, but whatever. But that one is like the least, I think the most remote from the actual original text, the Tao Te Ching. But anyways, I enjoy all 3 of them, and I'm going to keep reading them because I find the Spanish level is pretty good. So anyways, I was reading those, and then I read also an adaptation of The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. And this one was by some guy, Enrique Corominas. I thought the art was pretty good, but it wasn't really doing much for me. And then finally, the other kind of classic adaptation that I read was this book. I don't know what the English title is. I read the Spanish edition because I'm trying to just read in non-English if I can. So it's called, I feel like it's called Introducing Kafka or something. But the reason I read it was because Robert Crumb illustrated it, and it has his comics that adapt some of the stories. And I like that. The actual text itself, I guess it was by David Zane Marowitz, which was less interesting to me, but I still enjoyed it. I read Kafka in college. At some point I had to do a presentation on him, so I read through all his short stories and the 2 novels, America and The Trial. I've never read The Castle, and someday maybe I'll read it. Who knows? I think when I read Kafka, my impression of him was that he would sometimes have an interesting idea or an interesting scenario, but he would not necessarily, he didn't feel like a professional writer. Like compared to the other writers I'd been reading at that time, he just, I feel like he wasn't, putting the story together in a way that was as compelling as some of the writers I'd read. Maybe I'd have a different impression of him now when I'm more interested in, kind of non-traditional storytelling and stuff like that, alternative, experimental writing and things. Maybe. I don't know. What do you guys think of Kafka? Is he the bomb? Should I check him out again, or is he not that interesting? So yeah, I was reading those. And then finally, continuing my theme of adaptations, I watched through those Wes Anderson films. I talked about Wes Anderson's Asteroid City in another video, and I liked that. So these other films were adaptations of stories by Roald Dahl, which he had adapted before, the Fantastic Mr. Fox, which I thought was pretty good. And these stories, I thought these, they felt more like, I feel like the stories themselves were good, but I feel like the way that they were told was more like an audiobook in which you're constantly talking to the audience. Excuse my voice. And not even like using the full range of what film can offer. I think in Asteroid City, he was doing some interesting levels of just showing and then occasionally putting a narrative frame on it. But I feel like in these Wes Anderson Roald Dahl films that he was really just putting things too much on explaining everything in a way like a play, like an audiobook, but not like a movie. And I wanted it to be like a movie. I thought the actors were great. Cumberbatch and Richard Ayoade and all that. I think my favorite one was the snake one. I think that one worked the best, but they were all watchable and at least worth watching once if you like Wes Anderson. So spinning off of that, I mentioned Richard Ayoade, who is an actor in a few of those movies, those short films. And it's appropriate because his movie, I think it's called Submarine, I watched a long time ago. It feels very much like a Wes Anderson movie. Like the influence is very strong. And he has a book that came out. I mean, he's written several books, Richard Ayoade, and I know him maybe best from his TV shows, The IT Crowd and Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, which are both two incredibly funny TV shows that I highly recommend. But he had a book that came out, I think, let me think, when did it come out? It came out a few months ago. I don't know. It came out recently. It's called The Book No One Wanted to Read. So I read it, even though nobody. Anyways, illustrated by some other one person. And I enjoyed it to a degree. And then I kind of felt like I lost it. I felt like it went on for too long. And so I kind of appreciated it first, but then it lost me. So nice try, but no cigar, I guess, maybe. And then let me wrap up with two other movies that I've watched recently called The Banshees of Inisherin, which is, I think maybe if you like Ireland, and I talk a lot about James Joyce on my channel and things like that, you should watch this movie because it has a strong influence of Irish, especially Irish playwrights. I was thinking a lot of Samuel Beckett and what's it called? The Playboy of the Western World, Synge. I feel that influence a lot, but it's also just beautifully shot. It's not a very upbeat movie. It's a very it's like very claustrophobic, like what you get in a lot of Irish plays. This feeling that you're kind of trapped on this island and there's little possibility for escape. So it was interesting, but I think I liked the director's other movies, In Bruges and Seven Psychopaths, a bit more. But I'm glad I watched it, and I recommend it if you like Irish literature and Ireland and so on. And then finally, I'm going to talk about this movie, Moon Age Daydream, which is a documentary about David Bowie. There's been a lot of documentaries about David Bowie over the years. I don't think I've actually seen any of them. There's the Spiders from Mars or Ziggy Stardust documentary. I haven't seen that. There's one called 5 Years, and I think there's one called The Last 5 Years. I haven't seen either of those. But this one kind of got recommended a lot. I don't know. It's recent. And I watched it, and I don't know. I didn't care for it too much. I mean, I like David Bowie a lot. I think his music is incredible. One of my favorite musicians of all time. But I did not care for this movie. And for some reasons, like, first off, it's not, I mean, I'm glad I watched it, but I just feel like the editing and the, what am I trying to say? So I liked hearing, there's a lot about David Bowie in his own words and quotes from him, which is kind of interesting. But I also feel like a lot of these interviews and stuff you can just find on YouTube. And a lot of the music is taken out of its original context and remixed, or just the vocals are played alone without the music. And so it's not really satisfying as a music, as a like piece of music. And it's not really satisfying as a, you know, like a story of his life, because it leaves out a lot of things. It doesn't even mention his first wife, Angie Bowie, which I thought was kind of interesting. And it doesn't even, it kind of jumps over basically from about 1999 to 2016. It just like skips all that. And yeah, so I don't know, like it was told in a non-linear way, like it'll jump back and forth. It kind of moves forward, but it also jumps back, and so it's not really satisfying as a narrative. And then more than anything, I just found the editing kind of pretentious and annoying and like artsy in a way that was just kind of stupid. As somebody that edits a lot of video, it just felt pointless, and I would have rather seen more of a like the Beatles anthology type of, like a more traditional story of his life in a longer form, and actually covering you know, like I would have loved to see something about the years in which he wasn't making music, from about 2003 to 2013, because I don't know like what he was doing there in those years. And maybe that movie, The Last 5 Years, goes into that more, but I haven't seen that, so who knows. So I can't really recommend Moon Age Daydream unless, I don't know, maybe you like it, but I was not happy with it. I was a bit disappointed. And yeah, I guess that's all I wanted to talk about to get me warmed up in the video realm again. I hope to do more videos again. I have no idea what I'm going to do videos about. Before I took my month-long or whatever break from YouTube, I was going to do 2 live streams about books. Daniel Klaus's Monica and Bill Watterson and some other guys, The Mysteries. And I had hoped that I would be able to find digital copies on all the pirate sites I use, and yet I haven't. I haven't been able to find any of those. I had canceled those live streams because I was in a rental that the internet was not, I didn't feel it was strong enough to do a live stream, so I canceled those. But it was fortuitous because I still don't have copies of those, and I still haven't read those. I got a message. Who's this? Yeah. It's just my agent that the offers are coming in. So I don't have a way to review those, or yeah, at some point I'll probably talk about those, but at this point I don't have copies, and you'll have to wait. I don't know if I'll do a live stream again anytime soon, and who knows where my channel will go. I'm still doing kind of music on my music channel, and other than that, I don't know what I'm doing online. So see you in some future endeavor. Toodaloo.